This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. Good morning, I'm John Trout. It's Wednesday, September 10th, 2025. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
President Trump denounces an attack by Israel against Hamas targets in Qatar. I'm John Stolnis in Washington.
National outrage to the killing of a Ukrainian woman on a light rail train in Charlotte. I'm Clayton Neville.
Several major rulings in just over 24 hours from the U.S. Supreme Court. I'm Jeff McKay in Washington with the details.
The three major averages, the Dow, the S&P 500 index, and the NASDAQ, all opened this morning at fresh record highs. I'm Jessica Ettinger.
A Michigan judge tossed a case against 15 accused fake electors for President Donald Trump in 2020. I'm Haya Panjwani.
A majority of U.S. adults, about 6 in 10, think individual choices are a major driver of why people remain in poverty. I'm Jennifer King.
All ahead on America in the Morning. The Trump administration says they're not happy about an unprecedented attack by Israel against Hamas leadership targets that took place inside Qatar, an ally of the U.S. on Tuesday. John Stolnis has more from Washington.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says their aircraft hit the headquarters of Hamas's political leadership inside Doha as Hamas leaders were gathering to consider an American proposal for a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip.
At the beginning of the war, I promised that Israel would reach those who perpetrated this horror. And today, Israel and I have kept that promise.
Qatar has served as an important ally for the U.S., the attack on their soil angering their government as well as the Trump administration. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt telling reporters,
unilaterally bombing inside Qatar, a sovereign nation and close ally of the United States, that is working very hard and bravely taking risks with us to broker peace, does not advance Israel or America's goals.
Hamas says the attack was unsuccessful in taking out their top leaders. However, they did confirm 5 other Hamas members were killed. The attack took place in a residential area, something President Trump noted when asked about it as he ate dinner in downtown Washington last night.
I'm not thrilled about the whole situation. It's not a good situation. But I will say this, we want the hostages back, but we are not thrilled about the way that went down today.
The president views Qatar as a strong ally and friend of the United States and feels very badly about the location of this attack.
Netanyahu claimed total responsibility.
On this day, as in previous days, Israel acted wholly independently, and we take full responsibility for this action. And this action can open the door to an end of the war.
Democratic Senator Jack Reed, speaking on CNN, called the move disruptive to the peace process.
Even one that was very faltering. I think it was a signal by Netanyahu that he really does not want an agreement with Hamas. He wants to literally destroy Hamas, which means in many respects, continued fighting in Gaza.
Both President Trump and Netanyahu continued their call for all remaining Israeli hostages to be released. But the Hostages and Missing Families Forum, the main group that represents the families of the hostages, said they were concerned the attacks would lessen the prospect of their loved ones returning home. John Stolnis, Washington.
Federal charges are filed against the man seen on video stabbing a Ukrainian refugee to death while riding a light rail train in Charlotte, North Carolina. With the latest on the situation, here's Correspondent Clayton Neville.
23-year-old Irina Zarutska was sitting in front of the 34-year-old suspect for several minutes before he stood up and repeatedly stabbed her to death. He was arrested after he walked off the train. Following this week's release of the graphic surveillance video of the killing, President Trump released a video statement on social media.
We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are. It's the only thing they understand.
DeCarlos Brown facing a federal charge of committing an act causing death on a mass transportation system.
We'll do what has to be done because we're going to make America safe again, and that includes our big cities. We're going to make those cities safe.
The president blamed Democrats for violence in big cities in America.
For far too long, Americans have been forced to put up with Democrat-run cities that set loose savage, bloodthirsty criminals to prey on innocent people.
As far as the investigation, U.S. Attorney for the Western District of North Carolina, Russ Ferguson.
The maximum penalty for this federal crime is life in prison without parole or the death penalty.
The brutal stabbing spurring a national reaction.
Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, has empowered every field office to shift resources to violent crime to help keep our cities' streets safe.
FBI Special Agent in Charge, James C. Barnacle Jr.
This man was charged 14 times. There's been numerous encounters with police departments. He was arrested by the CMPD in January, but he's still on our streets.
And the White House insisting a need to do away with cashless bail. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt told reporters the Charlotte killing was completely preventable.
This monster should have been locked up, and Arena should still be alive.
I'm Clayton Neville.
Ruling by the Supreme Court on immigration. When America in the Morning continues after these messages. You're with America in the Morning. Thanks for listening. Showers expected in the east today. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
Areas from Washington, D.C. to around Boston stand the best chance for at least some showers in relation to a relatively weak storm building off the mid-Atlantic coast and staying offshore, eventually passing well to the south and east of Cape Cod tonight. However, this storm should track close enough to the coast for a long enough period of time to bring a rather cloudy, damp, and cool Wednesday for many from the Delmarva Peninsula through the southern New England coast, as a rather brisk wind off the Atlantic means temperatures struggling to escape the 60s in cities like New York and Baltimore. While the heaviest rain stays closer to the center of the storm offshore, some near coastal areas may end up with a downpour at times, and someone may even hear some thunder later today. Another part of the east where downpours and thunder will actually be much more likely is the Florida Peninsula, where another day of localized heavy showers and thunderstorms is in store as Gulf moisture continues to flow right across the state and wave after wave of atmospheric energy spins through the area around a stalled disturbance to touch off more enhanced precipitation. This pattern looks to be locked in place for several more days, so localized flash flooding can be expected to continue as those heavier storms redevelop every afternoon and evening. Yet another storm brings a higher transfer of precipitation from mainly Northern California right into Montana today as cooler air filters into Southern California and Nevada after a hotter start to the week. However, there may be at least a spotty afternoon thunderstorm around, especially from central Montana to western New Mexico. In Daytona Beach, Florida, watch for another round of clouds with gusty showers and heavy thunderstorms today, high 83. For Oklahoma City, today instead brings sunshine and warmth, the high 91. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
You can follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Simply search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. Monday and Tuesday were busy days for the U.S. Supreme Court with rulings and announcements involving immigration, foreign aid, and President Trump's tariffs. America in the Morning's Jeff McKay has details.
The Supreme Court on Tuesday granted the Trump administration's request to hear its appeal of a lower court ruling that many of President Donald Trump's wide-ranging Liberation Day tariffs are illegal, agreeing with the administration's request to consider the appeal on a faster-than-normal timeline. The court said it would hear oral arguments in the first week of November. The president's tariffs are now in the hands of the justices, who, if they rule against the president, could force the Trump administration to refund as much as $1 trillion in collected tariffs. Chief Justice John Roberts announced the Supreme Court on Tuesday allowed the Trump administration to withhold $4 billion in spending on foreign aid that was previously approved by Congress, which for now blocks a federal judge's ruling until the court can hear the case. It was on Monday, in a win for the Trump administration, that the nation's highest court lifted a federal judge's order prohibiting government agents from making indiscriminate immigration-related stops in the Los Angeles area that challenges called, quote, blatant racial profiling. In response, Justice Sonia Sotomayor wrote, quote, we should not have to live in a country where the government can seize anyone who looks Latino, speaks Spanish, and appears to work lower-wage jobs. I'm Jeff McKay in Washington.
Democrat James Walkinshaw has won the special election in Virginia's 11th congressional district, which will cut into an already slim Republican majority in the House. Walkinshaw defeated Republican Stuart Whitson, an Army veteran and FBI agent, by a landslide for the seat once held by the late Congressman Jerry Connolly. While the district is heavily Democrat, the election was watched as a bellwether for the upcoming gubernatorial election to see if the GOP could challenge in that district. Connolly's seat has been vacant since his death in May. Walkinshaw's win narrows the Republican majority in the House 219 to 213. When we return on America in the Morning, weakness in the job market gets weaker after these messages. This is America in the Morning. Here's the Wednesday Business Report with CNBC's Jessica Ettinger.
Wall Street opens this morning after a winning day for stocks, with the Dow, the S&P 500 index, and the NASDAQ each at new all-time highs this morning. Investors shook off the incredible revised job creation number from the government and worries about inflation. The U.S. economy could be in worse shape than first thought, though, with about 1 million fewer jobs created than the data had previously shown. It was the biggest government revision lower in job creation in the U.S. in more than 20 years.
911,000 less than previously reported. From April of 2024 through March of 2025, this is the annual benchmark revisions. We were not creating as many jobs as we thought. It's suggesting much weaker payroll growth. I know that some Fed officials think this is part of a broader story of weakness in the job market that should cause the Federal Reserve to cut.
CNBC senior economics reporter Steve Leisman. Meantime, reaction to that from the CEO of the nation's biggest bank, JP Morgan Chase's Jamie Dimon on CNBC.
That's a big revision. So the economy's weakening. You know, whether that is on the way to recession or just weakening, I don't know.
Apple out with new products, including a watch, AirPods, and a thinner and lighter iPhone 17 Air.
Typically want the most powerful phone with the best camera and the best battery life. Is the iPhone Air that? It's not. Maybe you wait for the next generation. The next generation might be a Fold. But when it comes to the Air, it doesn't have the specs as everything else does. Next year is the big event. It's going to be the Fold, according to all the rumors, and the iPhone Air will kind of settle into an in-between region and eventually maybe even fade out of the product lineup altogether.
Big Technology's Alex Kantrowitz on CNBC. Coffee just hit its highest price since last May as tariffs and bad weather impact that commodity. Meantime, the CEO of Starbucks, Brian Niccol, has been in the job for a year now. He's been trying to turn the company around. He spoke with CNBC's Kate Rogers.
Right now, Niccol says the consumer is giving mixed signals, but is responding positively to the company's changes.
We're seeing a lot of different signals from the consumer, and I think you're hearing that as other people talk about what's going on. There are a lot of signals where they're hanging there just fine, and then you see other places where there is some trepidation about potentially what could happen in the future.
And as for pricing, Niccol says he likes the company's value proposition right now.
Gold hit another record high yesterday, and intraday it topped $3,700 an ounce. On today's watch list this morning, we get the latest on wholesale inflation. Consumer inflation comes out tomorrow morning. Earnings today from Chewy, and buy now, pay later company Klarna begins trading today on the New York Stock Exchange.
Thank you, CNBC's Jessica Ettinger. When we return on America in the Morning, judge rules on election interference case after these messages. A Michigan judge dismisses criminal charges Tuesday against a group of people who were accused of attempting to falsely certify President Trump as the winner of the 2020 election in the battleground state. Correspondent Haya Panjwani reports it's a major blow to prosecutors, as similar cases in 4 other states have been fraught with setbacks.
A Michigan judge tossed a case against 15 accused fake electors for President Donald Trump in 2020. The group of people were accused of attempting to falsely certify that President Trump was the winner of the 2020 election in the battleground state. Electors are a part of the Electoral College that officially elects the president. The ruling by District Court Judge Kristen Simmons is a major blow to prosecutors, as similar cases in 4 other states have been hit with setbacks. Simmons said there was insufficient evidence to prove the fake electors had intent.
This is not an election interference case, and there's many things that could cause a pause in the electoral process, and it doesn't mean that it's criminal.
Each member of the group, which included a few high-profile members of the Republican Party in Michigan, faced 8 charges of forgery and conspiracy to commit election forgery. The top felony charges carried a maximum penalty of 14 years in prison. I'm Haya Panjwani.
A new poll asks Americans their opinions on poverty and homelessness. Correspondent Jennifer King has the results.
A majority of U.S. adults, about 6 in 10, think individual choices are a major driver of why people remain in poverty. About 43% favor the removal of homeless encampments in U.S. cities versus about 25% who are opposed. That's according to a new poll from the University of Chicago Harris School of Public Policy and the Associated Press Nork Center for Public Affairs Research. Fewer than half of Americans polled say unfair systems are a major factor contributing to poverty, and about 4 in 10 blame a lack of government support. 80% say that homelessness has increased, and they are right. According to federal data, homelessness went up by 18% last year. Just over half of those polled think the government spends too little on those in need. Professor Bruce Meyer at the University of Chicago says it seems like people are a little conflicted. I'm Jennifer King.
America in the Morning for Wednesday, September 10th, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour.
Trump and the Epstein birthday card. Who are you going to believe?
The president did not write that letter.
I'm Richard Johnson.
Republicans are using the fatal stabbing to blame Democrats for a crime in blue cities. Sagar Magani at the White House.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s latest Make America Healthy Again report calls for more scrutiny of vaccines and autism. Ed Donahue, Washington.
The debate over redistricting shifts to Missouri. I'm Clayton Neville.
The U.S. housing market continues to slump. I'm Jennifer King.
Apple debuts iPhone 17. Too much fanfare. I'm tech correspondent Chuck Palm.
Back after these messages. America in the Morning continues, shifting to that fall time pattern and showers for the west. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
A large storm barreling across the western one-third or so of the U.S. through Friday brings a number of impacts along with it. For starters, some showers and thunderstorms can be expected to build into more and more places. For today, that means the expansion of wet weather into more of the Sierra Nevada of California and more of central and eastern Oregon as well, then gradually working its way inland day by day, bringing the threat of dangerous lightning, a heightened risk for flash flooding in any burn scar areas, and some drought relief before eventually reaching the Colorado Rockies. At the same time, cooler air pushes into southern parts of California and Nevada, with temperatures not all that far from 100 degrees in some spots to start the week, now giving way to 80s. Strong wind gusts brought on by this advancing storm also lead to an elevated fire risk around the Four Corners region, thanks to the additional factors of low humidity and already dry ground, but this situation will only be worsened by the fact that there may be dry thunderstorms in this particular zone. A storm centered off the East Coast will mean wet weather for some, mainly from the Mid-Atlantic toward coastal New England, but parts of the I-95 corridor from the nation's capital to Boston won't be too far inland to escape the risk for at least some showers today. Showers and storms remain rather numerous over the Florida Peninsula as well, where some places have had 2 to 4 or more inches of rain since Monday. In particular, Miami has already had over 7 inches of rain this month, much of it this week, with more downpours to come this afternoon. In the center of the nation, a significant warm-up really takes hold through Friday as high pressure strengthens in place, bringing enough sun for widespread 80s and 90s. Mainly dry conditions spread from the plains to the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and much of the south, but there can be showers from Wisconsin to Michigan's Upper Peninsula, even some thunderstorms in Kansas. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
Remember to follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Simply search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. President Trump has publicly stated that the signature seen on a 2003 birthday card to Jeffrey Epstein was not penned by him. Correspondent Rich Johnson reports while the president is calling the Epstein card a dead issue, Democrats on the House Oversight Committee say otherwise.
Last night, as he walked with cabinet members from the White House to a nearby restaurant, the president spoke about the name on that card.
It's not my signature, and it's not the way I speak. And anybody that's covered me for a long time knows that's not my language. It's nonsense.
Earlier Tuesday, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt had even stronger words.
The president did not write that letter. He did not sign those documents.
Leavitt also reiterated her boss's assertion that Democrats' version of his relationship with Epstein is a hoax.
The hoax is the Democrats pretending to care about victims of crime when they do not care about victims of crime.
The top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, Robert Garcia of California, begs to differ.
The audacity of House Republicans, Mike Johnson, to go around D.C., to get on TV, to call this a hoax, to say the letter somehow wasn't written by Donald Trump. I mean, the blatant lies is completely outrageous.
Garcia's comment courtesy of MSNBC. The chairman of the oversight panel, Republican James Comer, is no fan of his colleague right now.
It's really disappointing to see how they've acted. I mean, Garcia, he's been on the job for about 2 weeks. He's proven to me to just be a real big drama queen.
The letter in question is a birthday card with what appears to be Trump's distinctive signature for Epstein's 50th birthday. The text is framed by the outline of a woman. There were also other birthday notes from several other people, including attorney Alan Dershowitz, former President Bill Clinton, and the current UK ambassador to the U.S., Peter Mandelson. Several other documents also came to light, including a drawing by an unknown artist suggesting that Epstein groomed young girls over time. And it's those girls, now women, that Comer says they should be focused on.
This investigation's about providing justice and accountability for the victims.
To which Garcia, in a way, agrees.
Not only is this issue not dead, it's not a hoax, but we're also just getting started.
I'm Rich Johnson.
The violent stabbing death of a young Ukrainian woman on a train in Charlotte, North Carolina, is sparking a national debate over safety in America's big cities. Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports on the latest flashpoint in the political debate over reducing crime in blue cities and states.
This beautiful, innocent 23-year-old young woman was a Ukrainian refugee who had recently fled her country for a chance at a safer life and a promising new beginning here in the United States of America. But tragically, a public transportation system in a major American city was more dangerous than the active war zone that she left.
Republicans are using the fatal stabbing of a Ukrainian refugee in Charlotte to blame Democrats for a crime in blue cities. The suspect had a history of mental illness, arrests, and erratic behavior before he stabbed the woman on a commuter train.
A madman, a lunatic.
Whom President Trump says should have been kept off the streets.
Just got up and started. It's right on the tape. Not really watchable because it's so horrible. But just viciously stabbed. She's just sitting there. So they're evil people. We have to be able to handle that. If we don't handle that, we don't have a country.
The attack's the latest flashpoint in a debate over whether Charlotte and other cities are doing enough to address violent crime, as the president weighs sending the National Guard to Democrat-run cities like Chicago and Baltimore. They've resisted, which baffles House Speaker Mike Johnson.
This is common sense, and I cannot for the life of me understand how the Democrats think this is some sort of winning political message. Yield, man. Let the troops come into your city and show how crime can be reduced. It's a morale boost for the country.
But number 3 House Democrat Pete Aguilar says the president's list of cities is telling. There's not a GOP-led one.
Theatrics and militarizing big cities only governed by blue states is not the way it's done. He's not talking about crime in Cincinnati or Toledo or Nashville or in other places. He's weaponizing this issue.
And data show violent crime has fallen nationwide. Sagar Meghani at the White House.
President Trump signs an executive order cracking down on pharmaceutical advertising. As correspondent Ed Donahue reports, this comes after HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. released a report on government health priorities and children's health.
Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s latest Make America Healthy Again report calls for more scrutiny of vaccines and autism.
And we're the sickest country in the world. We have the highest chronic disease burden of any country in the world. And yet we spend more on healthcare than any country in the world. We spend 2 to 3 times what European nations spend.
The 20-page report promises to put an end to childhood diseases.
So many times I've had discussions with him about a certain injury or illness, and he'll say how unpopular it will be if we talk about the solutions, which are going to hurt certain businesses. And he said, I don't care. He says again and again, I don't care. This is children.
Kennedy wants to prioritize investigations of vaccine injuries.
We are recasting the entire program so that vaccine injuries will be reported. They will be studied. And that individuals who suffer them will not be denied or marginalized.
A bipartisan group of senators have raised alarm over Kennedy's vaccine policies at the CDC, which has recently been thrown into chaos when Kennedy abruptly fired his hand-picked director and other top leaders walked off the job. The report also includes investigating prescription drugs and the cause of autism. Those who have spent decades researching autism have found no single cause. Kennedy has promised a massive research effort. Ed Donahue, Washington.
When we return on America in the Morning, the Murdoch family wrestling over control of Fox after these messages. The South Korean government is sending a plane to Georgia to pick up nearly 300 workers today who were detained in an immigration raid last week at a Hyundai EV battery plant. As those workers depart for Asia, Secretary of State Marco Rubio will be meeting with the South Korean foreign minister at the White House this afternoon to discuss the matter. The immigration incident has strained relations between the U.S. and South Korea, a key Asian ally who pledged hundreds of billions of dollars in U.S. investment as part of tariff negotiations. Shifting gears, Republicans in Missouri are moving forward with proposed congressional maps amid an effort by other states to purportedly give President Trump additional seats in next year's midterms. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports.
The proposed maps in Missouri look to shift the state's congressional delegation to 7 Republicans and 1 Democrat. Right now, there's 6 Republicans and 2 Democrats, essentially allowing 1 seat to be picked up by the potential move. The proposed map split the 5th congressional district by making it more conservative. This week, the map passed Missouri State House 90-65 and now heads to the state Senate. Missouri, the 3rd state to consider redrawing its congressional maps. Texas Republicans passed their redistricting effort last month, shifting 5 Democratic districts to Republicans. Democratic leaders in California responded to that by asking voters to decide if the state should redistrict its map to favor Democrats. The Democratic National Committee now surging opposition to the Missouri state capitol to protest and to speak out during hearings on the proposed maps. I'm Clayton Neville.
A federal judge has blocked President Trump from firing Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook as a lawsuit challenging her dismissal plays out in court. In August, Trump fired Cook over unproven allegations that she committed mortgage fraud. Cook immediately filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration to prevent her removal from the central bank. Cook has denied any wrongdoing, and her lawyer says she cannot be fired for cause if there is no cause, and also claims the president does not have the authority to fire her. The case involving Cook is expected to work its way to the Supreme Court. America in the Morning continues. The Murdoch family, which owns Fox News and the Wall Street Journal, among other media properties, has reached a deal on control of the family business. Lisa Dwyer reports.
Rupert Murdoch's family has reached a deal on control of his media empire after his death. The agreement ensures no change in direction at Fox News. The deal creates a trust that will be in place until 2050, giving control of Fox Corporation to Lachlan Murdoch, along with his younger sisters, Grace and Chloe. Lachlan's 3 older siblings will give up any claims to control of Fox and will receive stock currently valued at $3.3 billion. The court fight began when Rupert Murdoch and Lachlan sought to change terms of an established trust that gave the mogul's 4 oldest children equal say and control of Rupert's media holdings. Prudence, Elizabeth, and James are known not to be as conservative as their father. The previous arrangement led to worries that they could force Lachlan out and change Fox's direction after Rupert's death. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Apple has released the long-awaited specifications for the new iPhone 17. Chuck Palm has details in today's Tech Report.
They debuted the iPhone 17, rocking a 6.3-inch Super Retina XR display with ProMotion for silky smooth scrolling and epic gaming. The new Ceramic Shield 2 is 3 times tougher with less glare, and the camera is the star of the show with a 48-megapixel Fusion main and 2 times telephoto. They've added a new center stage front camera for killer selfies and video calls, and the A19 chip drives it all, boosting performance and battery life to, quote, all day, end quote, total usage. And with a 256-gigabyte base storage, that's more than twice the last generation's entry-level machine. AI is still not center stage with Apple Intelligence being a smarter Siri and slick photo editing, but don't expect sci-fi fireworks just yet. This release is all focused on hardware, bigger screens, tougher builds, and a super slim form factor, and 5 bold colors like sage, mist, blue, and so forth. For more, find me on X at Chuck Palm.
Wednesday Sports is in. Here's America in the Morning's Robert Workman.
Baseball Tuesday, the Blue Jays shaded the Astros 4-3 in 10 innings in a clash of AL division leaders. Tigers scored 9 times in the 7th as they motored past the Yankees 12-2. The teams chasing New York in the AL wildcard race all won. Red Sox shut out the A's 6-0. Rookie Connolly Early struck out 11 over 5 innings, combining on a scoreless 10-hitter in his major league debut. Well done, Meat. Mariners over the Cardinals 5-3. Randy Arozarena belted a big 3-run homer. The Guardians blanked the Royals 2-0. And the Rangers edged the Brewers 5-4. Michael Hillman went deep. He's driven in 7 runs in the first 2 games of the series. NL East, the Phillies thumped the Mets 9-3. Home run number 50 for Kyle Schwarber.
It's a cool moment. I want to, obviously I want to enjoy it, but there's still a lot more baseball to be played, and I want to focus on every single day trying to help this team to get to where we want to be.
Ranger Suarez struck out a dozen to get his 12th win and extend Philadelphia's division lead to 9 games. Dodgers drilled the Rockies 7-2, 2 dingers for Teoscar Hernandez. NL wildcard, Reds doubled up the Padres 4-2. Tyler Stevenson with a tie-breaking 2-run shot in the top of the 9th. Willie Adames smacked a 3-run jack in the first inning to lead the Giants over the Diamondbacks 5-3. Cubs drubbed the Braves 6-1. Elsewhere, the Orioles nipped the Pirates 3-2 in 11 innings. Nationals beat the Marlins 7-5. Josh Bell with his 4th homer in 3 games. Angels rolled over the Twins 12-2, all of their runs scoring with 2 outs. And the Rays hit 3 homers as they snagged the White Sox 5-4. NFL Week 2 kicks off at Lambeau Field on Thursday as the Packers host the Commanders. Sunday, it's a Super Bowl rematch between the Eagles and the Chiefs in Kansas City. The champs will have Jalen Carter in uniform after the league ruled that his ejection before the first play from scrimmage against the Cowboys on opening night will count as his 1-game suspension for spitting on an opposing player. That's Wednesday Sports.
Thank you, Robert. When we return on America in the Morning, mortgage rates hit an 11-month low. But where's the buyers? After these messages. Welcome back. You're with America in the Morning. Even though mortgage rates have fallen to an 11-month low, it's far from a seller's market. As correspondent Jennifer King reports, sales are slumping and there's more listings than people who want to buy, meaning it's getting tougher for home sellers to drive a hard bargain.
The U.S. housing market continues to slump. Sales of previously occupied U.S. homes are running about 1.3% below where they were last year, when they sank to the lowest level in nearly 30 years. More homes are for sale, prices are down or rising much more slowly, and listings are staying unsold longer, especially in the South and West. While the national median home listing price did rise slightly in July, some metro areas saw price declines of 4% or more, including Austin, Miami, Chicago, Los Angeles, and Denver. Active listings increased for the 21st month in a row, climbing nearly 25% from last year, according to Realtor.com. But affordability remains a challenge, with only 28% of homes priced within reach of median income buyers. Sellers are also competing with new construction. The result is that after years of skyrocketing values, home sellers are being forced to lower their prices, offer incentives, or give up, with some homes going into the rental market. I'm Jennifer King.
The average rate for the 30-year fixed mortgage fell to 6.29%, the lowest level since October, and down 16 basis points from last Friday, according to Mortgage News Daily. A 15-year fixed mortgage stands at 5.69%. One of the oldest science fiction franchises is planning some big things when it turns 60 next year. More from entertainment reporter Kevin Carr.
The classic science fiction television series Star Trek turns 60 next year, and the studio is planning a slate of events to celebrate. Kicking off the new year, the Rose Parade will include a Star Trek float, representing series creator Gene Roddenberry's vision of hope, inclusivity, exploration, and unity.
And so, we begin.
The new live-action series Starfleet Academy, starring Holly Hunter and Paul Giamatti, will premiere in early 2026 on Paramount+.
All right, Scouts, it's asteroid blasting time.
Another new series, Star Trek Scouts, is coming to YouTube, targeting a much younger audience. CBS and Nickelodeon Digital Studio have developed this preschool program about 8-year-olds training for Starfleet. Also for the kids, and honestly plenty of grown-ups, LEGO is officially beaming in Star Trek sets. The franchise will broadcast where no Trek has broadcast before with the scripted podcast Star Trek Con, and their first episode dropped this week. Trek alums Tim Russ and George Takei play their iconic roles of Tuvok and Sulu.
Khan was one of humanity's greatest mistakes, a product of ill-advised genetic manipulation.
And finally,
please welcome the morale officers up to the stage.
For an immersive experience, there's always the 9th annual Star Trek Cruise, sailing out of Port Canaveral on the Adventure of the Seas in February. Live long and prosper. I'm Kevin Carr.
America in the Morning for Wednesday, September 10th, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.